how do you balance the thought between live your life as it is right now and worrying about the future? My anxiety about the future often makes me not enjoy the life I currently have. So we just did an episode on anxiety, Ryan.
Yeah.
And this question is appropriate because what Fira is trying to balance is what is going on in my life right now.
Yeah.
And then I'm also worried about the future. Now, you can think about the future
Sure.
without worrying about the future. I think those are two different things. Now, Fira here, just by thinking about the future, is sort of presupposing that no matter what she does to think about the future, she's going to be worrying about the future. Now, I want to live a life that my future self is going to be proud of. So I want to live a life that is congruent. Right now, my daily actions today are congruent with the person I want to be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And so that way, I'm not going to be worried about the future. I'm going to be anticipating the future for what it is. And living in the moment, for me, means making sure that I'm congruent. There's some sort of congruency between the person I want to be and the actions I take right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, step number one sounds like Fira has got to get clear on what her values and beliefs are.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, ultimately, when I think about living a meaningful life, when I think about, what is happiness, and I say happiness as not as in like endorphins hitting my head and being happy, but living a meaningful life and happiness for
Longer
me
term well-being.
Yeah, is interchangeable for me. It's when my short-term actions align with my long-term values and beliefs. And if I'm not clear on those values and beliefs, well, then I'm going to be lost until I figure out what those are. So step number one is, yes, figure out what those values and beliefs are. I mean, I tell you, how many times have we talked about that? I can't tell you how many mentoring students I've had, and like that's where we start getting clear on the values and beliefs, because that is the compass. That is the guide for what you should take action on every single day. And when something is off balance, when you're not able to live in the moment, that compass really helps.
Yeah, and I think your beliefs need to be anchored in your values, because if not, so our beliefs are the paths that get us to the destination being the values. And quite often we might have a bunch of beliefs, we don't know why we believe them, and that becomes a problem as well. Our beliefs are often someone else's beliefs, and we don't know how we got there, or actually where we're going. We don't know how we got on that path, that belief, and we don't really know where it's taking us. And so I think it's really important to start with those values, and then you figure out, how do I get to where I'm going?
Absolutely, man. Another tool that I will recommend for Farah is your calendar. Like this, for me, is so important, because the calendar helps me plan ahead for not just staying on top of my adult responsibilities, but also for my free time, for when we're recording a podcast, but having everything scheduled out and being able to know where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be there. That helps me to live more in the moment, because I'm not so paranoid about, oh, did I forget something today? I do. Like sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and I'm like, where do I got to be today? And I'll pull up the calendar and I'm like, oh, I don't have to be anywhere today. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Like, and I can look at that and I can instantly let that anxiety go.
And you realize you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes,
and that's why you let the anxiety go.
Exactly. And then the other thing too, man, this is, I would recommend this for anyone, but for me, man, like you and I were just talking about before this podcast, how Mariah and I have been doing this budget over the last couple months, and how it has affected, different things in our lives. But what I'll say, man, is like, knowing where every dollar is going to go and having a plan for that, dude, that takes off so much anxiety, not just for the month, but for retirement, for everything else, man. Like, so really,
so you're thinking about the future without worrying about it.
Exactly, man. So maybe like this is my way of saying, Farah, you need to find tools to use in your life that help you to plan for the future,
Mm-hmm.
so that you don't have to constantly be worrying about what is happening in the future.
Yeah, and so some of those tools are using your calendar effectively,
Yeah.
scheduling as much as you can, including some of the things that I schedule are time just to mess around on YouTube for an hour.
Yeah.
I did this last night, actually. By the time I had my workday done, and so from 7 until 9 p.m., I watched unnecessary YouTube videos and
.com.
and I felt good about it because I had planned for it ahead of time, and so I didn't feel like, well, should I be doing something else right now? Yeah. No, this was the best use of my time because I had planned for it accordingly. Now, of course, you can overplan. You can plan a bunch of nonsense for your day. You have to be honest with yourself when you're using these tools. Yeah. You have to use them effectively. A hammer is a tool, but if I used it to just beat Jordan over the head with it, he's not going to be happy about it.
And our videos would suck.
Yes, they would.
But dude, it's funny. Like, we plan vacations.
Yes.
And like, vacations are these times. It's giving ourselves permission to go somewhere and pretty much do whatever we want with that time that we have set aside. Mm-hmm. And planning a week vacation is great, but planning a little hour vacation is great. Do we all have to? We all have to veg. Minimalism is not about staying productive 24 hours a day. No. It's not about constantly be working towards this massive, making a dent in the universe.
Yeah, GTD, get things done.
Get things done. Minimalism is about it's about keeping ourselves sane in this insane world that we live in.
Right.
And yes, like, part of, for me, even though I'm a huge extrovert, man, like, I still need to veg out. And Mariah and I, we will sit and watch, stupid reruns of, well, they're not stupid, they're hilarious, of, Seinfeld or The Office or whatever it may be. But yes, there's no shame in vegging out. There's no shame in watching unnecessary YouTube videos. The only time where I feel shame when I do that stuff is when I know I should be doing something else. But if you schedule the time to do it, there's no reason to feel guilty.
Yeah, the reason that you feel anxious quite often is because of the many distractions that are out there. There's this fear of missing out because we're constantly bombarded by endless messages.
Yeah.
Do this, do this, do this, and we feel like we're missing out, and that produces anxiety. Now, you can reduce the number, you can filter out the number of inputs. If we get 500,000 discrete inputs every day, there's no way that we can filter through all of them, but what we can do is put up some walls, some barriers. We can remove the social media apps from our phone.
Yeah.
We can agree to check our email once or twice a day at scheduled times. We can agree to not spend more than an hour a day watching television. We can agree to use the calendar. We can agree to use a budgeting app like EveryDollar. We can agree to use, for me, I use a today list, not a to-do list, a today list to truly figure out what my priorities are. That eliminates the many distractions that I have. If we get rid of those distractions, the anxiety level decreases dramatically.
Absolutely.
One other thing, don't confuse ephemeral happiness with long-term well-being. Another essay from our friend Colin Wright. It's up on our website right now. It's called Eudaimonia. We'll put a link to it in the show notes. It's a different kind of happiness. Quite often we think of happiness as this momentary burst of pleasure.
Yeah.
I've got a 5-year-old daughter, and Ella is always in the moment. Kids, 5-year-olds especially, are really great at being in the moment.
They don't have to worry about, retirement.
Right. Not that they don't have to worry about it. They don't have to think about it. Right?
Yeah.
And so they don't do much thinking. In fact, if I asked her what she did yesterday, the answer is almost, I have no idea. I don't know. Because they're so focused on the right here and right now. And that can be great as long as you're also thinking about the future and the future consequences. That's why as adults, we have fully developed frontal cortexes. We have to think about both. And so this essay, Eudaimonia, really talks about balancing out that short-term ecstatic pleasure with long-term well-being.
Yeah.
I'm less concerned now with the oh my God, I have to feel excited in every moment.
What a bad expectation anyway.
So bad. And that's why kids have tantrums, is because they don't have that.
Yeah.
As soon as they lose that in the moment excitedness, it's, oh my God, I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Instead, let's worry about long-term well-being. Well-being in the moment, but also, does this lead to my future well-being? And that term is called eudaimonia.
Yeah.
And so take a look at that essay. We'll put a link to that. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can probably see it on the screen as well.